everything needs to earn its pixels. So if there's a pixel on a page, meaning the base element of a page is a small little pixel like that, everything needs to earn its way on there. So if they're like if you took this off the page, like locate, your brands exist everywhere. Your customers and future customers are having conversations on the internet. If you were to take this part out, do you think it would change the page at all?
Yeah, it'd change it for the better.
Yeah. Okay. So it does not earn its pixels. In fact, it's dragging the page down. So thanks for being honest, by the way.
Yeah.
So same with analyze. We analyze your current state of the union. Yeah, whatever. It's just kind of like fluffy text, right? It doesn't help. People aren't going to be like blown away by this. They are blown away by this though, right? So there's something different here. This is A+. This is maybe C- at best. So if you got rid of that, why not? Just get rid of it. So everything must earn its pixels. Everything must pull its weight on the page. Don't just put crap there because you can or because it was already there and you're too afraid to hit the delete button.
The Startup Ideas Podcast. Sipping time, baby.
Ring, ring, ring. Who am I calling right now?
It's Neville Medora from Copywriting Course.
Well, Neville, I need some help. I need some TLC, tender love and copy on a couple of my companies.
Dude, I should be paying you after that kind of slogan making. That's pretty good. Yeah. Well, let's do it. Let's share some screens. Let's tear some stuff down and ask you personal questions about these websites of yours.
During this pod, the goal is to, my goal is for you to help me. But by watching this or listening to this, you will learn how to write copy that sells. And so it's a win-win.
Yeah. I guess what we're going to do is we're going to look at pages of yours and see if I can make them better and see what's good, what sucks, and maybe some different strategies we could put on them. And the reason that this is helpful, I don't know about you, Greg, but I get like what's called like familiarity blindness. So if I look at my own sales pages, I've seen them literally like 10,000 times. I can't see anything wrong with them. I know them so well that I'm like, clearly this explains the product perfectly. But then other people look at them and they're like, wait, you do office hours? And I'm like, that was like half the page. And clearly I messed up somewhere. So it's no problem when people ask, they're just like, we don't know what to do with this page. I'm like, yeah, that happens with everyone. I can't update my own pages, but you could probably look at it, instantly spot what's going on. So I think that's what we're going to do today.
All right, let's get into it.
So first one, design scientists. So tell me something before we look at this page. I want to show you my process. So, okay, I'm looking at this page. It looks cool. Looks like it's designed pretty well, I guess. It's got stuff. I kind of don't care. The first thing I'm going to do is this. I'm going to make my screen really small. So I'm going to do Command- on my Mac and be like, what am I supposed to click? And I guess I could kind of see that I'm supposed to click one of these things and one of these things. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. So I don't even know what those are yet. I haven't even like really looked at it. But right away, what is it? It's book a free call. Okay. So the goal of your page, I'm assuming, is to get people to book a call.
Yes.
So
Yes.
This page exists solely to get them here.
If the website works well, it generates calls. And then on the call, we show. So, okay, what is design? Should I say what designscientist.com is?
No. Oh, we're not even there yet. Your goal is to get them to fill this out.
Yes.
Click Wednesday 11th at 12:30 and then fill out their name, right?
Correct.
Have y'all ever tried putting it just like right there instead? Like, have you ever tried just putting it here instead? Is that something you've ever tried?
We haven't.
That could boost conversions right away. Like I said, like I don't really care about the copy and stuff. I care about the results that the page. Like you having awesome copy on your page is not really the goal. I view this as like a really fancy business card. And how can we get them to call us? So the less amount of steps that you have, the better. Like for example, if you were to take all of the information off of this page, I'm just going to highlight all of this and I'm going to delete it. And this is the whole page now. And all you had was book a free call. I bet more people would click that button. And so if you just had like, this book a free call link up on the page right away, I bet more people would actually click it and know about it. So one simple trick before we even get into it is like, you could put that right on the page, just a consideration. So
Totally.
with that, what is design scientist?
So it's kind of funny because what designscientist.com does is it works with startups and companies to help them with visual assets that convert and that generates clicks, cash, and shares. So many people have hired designers and they're sitting in their Williamsburg apartment with, thick glasses or glasses that look like mine.
Dude, you're describing
and
yourself here.
so many people have worked with me. And they end up getting design assets that don't really convert at all. And I think that nowadays, what is a design scientist? My goal of a design scientist is, what if a designer wasn't just an artist? So it's, 1/3 copywriter, 1/3 designer, and 1/3 marketer. And so we built a team that does that for other companies. And it's funny, Neville, because it's kind of like how a doctor, some of the most unhealthy people in the world are doctors.
Yeah.
It's like we put up this website so quickly for ourselves because the team is busy, doctoring for other companies. So I need you to help me get what's in my brain on this page.
Design scientist. So here's one of the, I'm going to pull up your X over here. One of the things that I'm biggest about is it's like, instead of telling people, can we just show people? Because you're talking about visual assets that convert. And here's the problem. I don't particularly see any of these visual assets on the page. Like, what are you talking? Are you talking about like stuff like this?
No, I'm talking about like brands, websites, mobile apps, infographics.
Okay. So let's say I'm just going to pull anything right here. So yeah. I'm going to say this is the stuff you did. And before it looked like, I don't know, this, whatever, horrible example, but for speed's sake, let's do that. So what if I said before 30 clicks and 1 page visit, 0 sales, sad face, right? And I'm just moving really fast here for a chat. Then it says after design scientist, you get 3,500 clicks, 150 page visits, and 10 sales, 400K revenue. Happy face.
Shh, don't tell anyone. But I've got 30 plus startup ideas that could make you millions. And I'm giving them away for free. These aren't just random guesses. They're validated concepts from entrepreneurs who've built $100 million plus businesses. I've compiled them into one simple database, compiled from hundreds of conversations I've had on my podcast. But the main thing is, most of these ideas don't need a single investor. Some cost nothing to start. I'm pretty much handing you a cheat sheet. The Idea Bank is your startup shortcut. Just click below to get access. Your next cash flowing business is waiting for you.
Now, we didn't write any really like groundbreaking content or anything over here, but this is pretty obvious of what just happened, right? And so I think people can say, oh, I want a similar type of result. Maybe we can get something like that. So I call this like showing, not telling. Instead of saying that like we make visual assets, it's like, what if we just had a before and after and be like, these are the kinds of results. If you just had like 3 different case studies of this on the page, I think I would much better get an idea of what this is. And to be honest, I've followed you for a while and I've always looked at your stuff like Late Checkout, Design Scientist. I've never understood exactly what they do because it doesn't show me. I understand it's a design agency, but so I get the overall like concept of what you do. I don't know what you actually create. So if you were to do something like this and just show me creations right here and results, I would probably understand it pretty quickly.
It's so interesting because in our calls, remember we were talking about booking calls? Well, in the calls, what we have is the sales team, the biz dev team, they're like, they basically go through before and afters. Like that's the pitch. So what you're saying is maybe it's about taking what's in the sales calls and the decks and the images and the befores and afters and kind of extracting it from the sales calls, putting it on the website as like a main feature.
Yeah, and these types of things actually do a lot more than people expect. Like, it's not just showcasing your work, but it's actually showing who you work with. So let's say we copy and paste this exact example and we copy it again. So we could say like Procter and Gamble, right? Let's just say they were the one that this was for. Well, what that tells me is that you work with Fortune 100 companies, right? So someone else, so like let's say Dell approaches you and they're like, well, we don't know if they can work with a Fortune 100 company like us. They see Procter and Gamble on there. They go, cool, they can. So once again, it's kind of like showing, not telling. So I think that these kinds of results actually go really, really far and just showcasing your work really quick. And people go, I want that. Let's get on that calendar call. Whereas right now, I browse your site and it's kind of like you need creativity that converts, buzzwords, how we can help companies grow. And then you list out all the basic ChatGPT stuff of like what is involved in a design company. The Einstein of design, okay, whatever. But the thing is, I don't really actually know what you've delivered here. So I bet on your sales call, you have a presentation that shows that you deliver analytics, that you do split tests, that you've done like AI analysis or whatever, and you show actual examples. You probably already have all this content. You're just not showing it over here.
Totally. This is really clicking for me. We actually, can I show you something, another website real
Absolutely.
quick?
Yeah.
So we just updated our latecheckout.agency website, which is our basically a higher end. If you go to latecheckout.agency, it's kind of our higher end version of Design Scientist. So this is what works with like Fortune 50 companies. And we added this right here. We added this last week. And dude,
I'm going to screenshot that from my swipe file. It's so good.
You don't know how many calls and emails that we've gotten from like the biggest AI companies, SaaS companies that have seen this and be like, oh my God, they're working with the CPO of Fortnite and I'm the CPO of EA Games. I need to work with them. What we did here is we literally deleted we had a crappy kind of like Design Scientist website before, and we just like deleted it and just put this, and this is converting like 20x more, 30x more.
Yeah, exactly. And then also I'm just brainstorming over here on this one.
Yeah.
But one thing, I just love it. Like I said, I actually took a screenshot to put it on my own site swipe file where I just collect all cool marketing. What if you even put, and I don't think you could actually do this just with like confidentiality, blah, blah, blah. But the next step would be you put result. And then you said 400,000 more users. Fortnite, 75% more in purchase whatevers.
Right.
Grammarly, 70,000 new users a day.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever. So that kind of stuff even takes it a step further with results, assuming you have awesome results like that and assuming that they let you say that, which a lot of places will be a little bit squeamish about.
Neville, are you saying I should basically add a column and put the results there? Is that what you're saying?
If you're allowed to, and if the results kick ass.
Okay. Yeah. So go back to latecheckout.agency for a second. So we see, if you scroll down, we put a couple of, but no one reads that. No. I feel like no one's like, and we build it for them and then read it. I feel like your idea is way better. Just put it in the table.
Yeah. Ain't nobody reading that. No one got to 9 figures of revenue, right? I'm just taking millions of downloads.
Right.
Just the basics. And the thing is, sometimes people get a little too wrapped up in like, well, technically we can't say exactly the numbers because it's confidential. It's just like, give me millions of downloads. Can we say that? Just a generic statement. I don't need to know exactly what you did for Shopify. That's maybe for like a sales call. That's private. We're not putting that on the website. So yeah, just something like this. So instead of this, which honestly, I didn't read. I think most people didn't. You could have just put it right here where all the gold is already. And that's all you need to do. Yeah, that'd be sick. So this way people know what they are getting. If you were to do this for Design Scientist, it would be a similar graph maybe, but it would say something like created 400 social media assets, right? Created 3 viral posts,
Exactly.
3 million views
That's right.
total, right? Stuff like that. So then someone goes a design scientist and they're like, oh, they create visual assets for like social media.
Exactly.
Brand new website converts 9 billion %, whatever. So those are the types of things that you could put on there and instantly someone gets the idea, I know what they do. So we don't have to tell them. We don't have to write long paragraphs of copy. If you've got results like this, I mean, just show it. There's no reason in chatting a bunch. Yeah.
Dude, yes.
Yeah. This kicks ass. So this is already doing really well. And remember what I told you at the top of the call? If you were to take out all this crap on design scientist and just put like a book now thing and maybe a couple of before and afters, you get more results. That's literally what this is. It's like one piece of content essentially, and then like request a brainstorm. Yeah. Also, by the way, great way to put the, damn. Okay. You really nailed it on this page. I'm gonna take another screenshot here real quick.
I wrote a post about this
brainstorm.
Button. I wrote a post about this button. So
that is sick.
If you go to gregisenberg.com and grab my newsletter, you'll get posts like this. But actually, it's on my CK, my ConvertKit. So if you go to Greg Isenberg, I guess it's gregisenberg.ck.page. Is that what ConvertKit is now? Yeah, gregisenberg.ck.page.
Request a brainstorm is great. I'm going to steal that. So kudos on that one. That's sick.
Yeah. So basically, we changed it from book now to request a brainstorm because people come to us for ideas. Like a Grammarly will come to us for like, hey, I need ideas. I want innovation. I want to see where it's going to go. Buttons. It's called Buttons. That's the. Oh damn! You gotta be a subscriber, dude. You're not a subscriber. It's crazy. Anyways,
there we go.
So we changed that, and it literally, I think, like 2 or 3x conversion rate just by request a brainstorm.
And that's so if I click that, that's also just like a connect with us type thing. Why do you do this connect with us versus a calendar thing? Have you noticed any difference on that?
So with LCA, the model is we only work with like 12 clients a year. So it's very much, it's not like we want a ton of calls. It's just about, we want the most interesting companies in the world. So that's why we look at who applies and then we'll only work with maybe 0.1% of it.
Yeah, that kicks ass.
So this is for agencies. Yeah.
So this page is, I think it's like an okay page. I would rate this like a B-.
Yeah.
In my mind. I also like looking at it in mobile and just to see. And I think it looks better in mobile, actually. I think it just has like a lot of white space. Here's another concept that I always look at. I call it like brain cycles. You know how a computer works, megahertz and stuff like that. It's how many cycles happen per second. And I think, how many cycles per second does my brain need to understand what's happening on this page? The less, the better, right? So right now I'm like design revenue, unique creative that converts. So we're talking about, you got like a buzzword here, you got a buzzword over here, and buzzwords stacked together compound. So it's like buzzword squared, buzzword cubed in terms of complexity. So my brain is like, okay, I kind of understand what they're talking about roughly, but I'm having to like compute like, but what do they do? And so there's a lot of brain cycles going on, which I find a failure. However, if we had this over here, or when you have this one, right? Very few brain cycles to figure this out. Like it's pretty obvious what's happening. Or if you saw this before and after, 0 sales, now you got 100,000s of revenue. Understood, like, right? That doesn't take a lot of brain cycles. So reducing brain cycles is a big thing that I like to tell people when looking at a page. I don't even have to read it most of the time. We can just look at it and be like, this is confusing. There's some, I don't know, random ass drawings over here. That's fine. Our procedure. And then like ask tons of white space over here for some reason, which I don't know. Sometimes to me, like my brain goes like, is that a mistake? Like, maybe the web designer in me is thinking that. So yeah, this is generally how I go through a page. The other concept I'd like to harp on is that everything needs to earn its pixels. So if there's a pixel on a page, meaning the base element of a page is a small little pixel like that, everything needs to earn its way on there. So if they're like if you took this off the page, like locate, your brands exist everywhere. Your customers and future customers are having conversations on the internet. If you were to take this part out, do you think it would change the page at all?
Yeah, change it for the better.
Yeah. Okay. So it does not earn its pixels. In fact, it's dragging the page down. So thanks for being honest, by the way.
Yeah.
So same with analyze. We analyze your current state of the union. Yeah, whatever. It's just kind of like fluffy text, right? It doesn't help. People aren't going to be like blown away by this. They are blown away by this though, right? So there's something different here. This is A+. This is maybe C- at best. So if you got rid of that, why not? Just get rid of it. So everything must earn its pixels. Everything must pull its weight on the page. Don't just put crap there because you can or because it was already there and you're too afraid to hit the delete button. So another important concept. Yeah. And then lastly, I think this one's important on pages. I do what's called the caveman voice. And like, do you remember those old Geico commercials with like the dumb caveman, where people see like this dumb looking caveman with long hair and they're like, oh, he's an idiot. And he responds back like, I'm actually really smart. Well, the thing is, like, imagine there's a dumb caveman and he's reading the page and he's just scrolling bleary eyed, doesn't really give a fuck. And he's kind of like, dumb. I don't care. For some reason, there's a picture of Einstein. Yeah, okay. That's how I read pages. Like, I don't pay attention. I read like the average person on the internet does. And I think that's what really helps you understand what's good and what's not. So when I saw this, you visibly saw my eyes light up and go like, oh shit. And then I started hitting Command-Shift-4 to take a screenshot. That's good. Me scrolling through like a dumb caveman going like, okay, stupid, whatever, I don't care. That's probably a bad thing, right? Like you're really not grabbing anyone over there. So couple of important concepts over there to learn.
I want to, yes, very cool. My reaction to that on the Caveman Voice thing is and this is relevant for anyone who wants to start an agency. As agency owners, we all try to sound smart, right? Like, because our job is to be smart to help other companies. That's the service that we're providing. What you're saying is kind of, write like you speak and just talk very simply. And I believe you. Like, I believe that'll work.
What if you just said something like this? I'm totally making stuff up over here, right? But if you had something that said, here's 3 examples that 1,000x revenue in 3 months, that's something grabbing, right? Take some of your like high end. Let's see if this, okay. Well, that doesn't look great, but you kind of get the point over here. If you just put that over there instead of like our hypothesis, that could just grab a lot more interest and get people, it's like screenshotable. People will want to save it and be like, oh my God, that's so awesome. Like they did this, like this is how it looked and now it looks like this. And that had such a big impact. That's what we want as well. So I think stuff like that is like pretty simple to do, especially if you're an agency that already has a lot of good results. So I've done work for agencies all the time. This is very common that they're like, it's a little embarrassing that we're a marketing agency, but we're reaching out to someone to tell us what to do for marketing. And I'm like, it's familiarity blinds. It's totally okay. And I ask them all these cool, what can you share about your results? And they have crazy ass results. And I'm like, wouldn't it be helpful to just put that on the page over here? And they're like, oh yeah, I never thought about it. So yes, very simple to do. Because I've seen your page a million times. I had no idea what you did to now. Should we look at a different page?
Yeah. The other aha moment before we click that is your page can literally just be one image, basically. So start your website by like one image and then just kind of like layer on as you need fit, as as it earns its pixels, as you say. So that was a big aha moment for me.
I will often, before I come up with business ideas in my head all the time. I think that, you see like right here on my page, there's like a folder that says ideas, and I come up with stuff all the time. And what happens is I find it really helpful to actually write the sales page or homepage first And this is a thing I learned from like Basecamp's Jason Fried. He always talked about this back in the day. He's like, write the copy out in like a text editor. No rich formatting, no bold, no text sizes, no nothing. Just write out the copy you want and then build off of that. And I've always taken that to heart because it really gets at it gets to the heart of like what you are trying to promote, what you're trying to sell, and how you're describing the product and what the value proposition is. If you start designing the page, which is always tempting, you're going in Framer, you're going in whatever WordPress, it's tempting to like make it look pretty, but we're not trying to make pages that look pretty. That's not our goal. Our goal is to get a page that converts. And so I do think it's really, really helpful when you're starting a business idea. Try to write out the sales pitch and you'll quickly realize, oh, this is a bad pitch. This isn't good. And so I have discouraged myself from doing a lot of businesses that'll take me a lot of time with no result by writing out the pitch first. And then I'm like, yeah, this sucks. I've so many people have told me to make a copywriting agency. I start writing out the page and I start quickly realizing like the problems of like why it wouldn't work too well. So very helpful to do.
Quick ad break. Let me tell you about a business I invested in. It's called boringmarketing.com. So a few years ago, I met this group of people that were some of the best SEO experts in the world. They were behind getting some of the biggest companies found on Google. And the secret sauce is they've got a set of technology and AI that could help you outrank your competition. So for my own businesses, I wanted that. I didn't want to have to rely on Mark Zuckerberg. I didn't want to depend on ads to drive customers to my businesses. I wanted to rank high in Google. That's why I like SEO, and that's why I use boringmarketing.com, and that's why I invested in it. They're so confident in their approach that they offer a 30-day sprint with a 100% money back guarantee. Who does that nowadays? So check it out. Highly recommend boringmarketing.com.
All right. Should we look at Community Empire?
Let's do it. This is like, I'm so embarrassed with this copy, but
so once again, I'm gonna make this really small and just like look at it. Visually, the page looks nice. It's super small. I could tell that I'm probably supposed to click this, I guess, or this. Okay, so I at least kind of know what to do. I think there's like a call to action here and a cool picture. I don't know what it is yet. Looks pretty simple. Already, I'm kind of liking this page. I don't hate it. So if I can, let's see, for creators on build your internet empire, product, generate. Okay. I think my biggest issue is I don't know, like, is this a course? Is this a cohort? Does it start at a certain time? I think that's just my main questions already. I love this picture though. I think it's kind of cool. Feature business building, more than a community ship. It's a membership. Okay. Is this an ongoing membership that I could like go to like school.com and click like /Greg or something?
Yeah. So the idea here was, I think it's called Community Empire. So let's see if that pulls up. But the idea here was solopreneurship's pretty lonely. And I think there's also a lot of people like indie hackers, people who want to build businesses without taking venture capital. But a lot of people don't have the accountability. They don't have the know-how. They want to build internet audiences. They want to build communities. They need swipe files for a lot of this stuff. So, and then selfishly, I wanted a group of people who I could hang out with, connect with, invest in, hire. Like we've hired people from this group. We've been in talks recently. Actually, I'm buying someone's company from this space, so it keeps me at like the nexus of this people. So, it's a membership for people who want to accelerate building a business without VC money. Or just
and are you talking about building a business specifically like as a community, like on school, or is it like does this have to do with community?
It doesn't. So my whole thing, the way I build businesses is using something called the ACP framework. So ACP
it talks about that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's basically like a funnel. So you start with the audience. So you build you start off by building a Google Doc of some copy. I start off by registering a Twitter account and just start tweeting. So I start by building an audience. And then from there, I convert that into a private community to try to learn a little bit more, get the power users. And then from there, I build a product and service to service that community. So everything I build, and I'm betting my whole career, I've been betting my whole career on this, has been using the ACP funnel. So no, to answer your question, you don't have to build a community to like on school, but I do believe that having a community helps accelerate the ACP funnel.
That's pretty cool. I do like that. So I guess you don't drive people directly to the school page. You get them to like apply before they can get in.
Yeah.
And that's just so you can vet people before they come in and kind of stink up the place.
That's why we recently changed it, is because we want to keep it a really high quality group. So the wait list helps do that.
So a community, I run a community. One thing that you might want to do, have you talked about the people who are in there, right? So for example, let's say I go to a HustleCon event, right? So there's going to be like the founders of WeWork and the founders of whatever big company or some crap like that up on stage. I'm probably not going to get to meet them, but I'm going to be able to mingle with other people in the crowd. So that's a big part of why I'm going to go there. Who else is in this community of note? Like, does anyone, you don't have to name names or anything, but is there anyone of note, or do they have like a cool business going? Anyone you have in there?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to like put them on blast, but I will say that there's several people who either have 8-figure, 9-figure businesses or built them in the past.
Yeah, let's not name names. However, let's talk generally. So member one, we'll just talk about generally.
Yeah. Okay, one person.
9-figure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
9-figure bootstrap business. Member 2 would be co-founder in multi-billion-dollar VC-backed business, but now he's interested in cash flow, so that's why he joined.
What about this?
You definitely heard
right.
it for
Let's
sure.
say it's like Casper or something like that, right? Like we don't have to put him on blast, but we could talk in vague terms. Member 3, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So I'm just going to copy a couple of these. Now, if you were to put like 3, 5, 6, 10 of these, like this is kind of like, what Sam's doing with Hampton or something like that. It's like the purpose is like who else you are going to meet inside the community. It's not just access to you. So you can say, I want you to be part of this crew and awesome convos going on inside. I also wonder if you could talk about specific conversations inside. I assume y'all talk through the school platform. It's like a chat thing, forum, Facebook post kind of stuff. Is that how it works?
We do, but we also have weekly workshops within. So we'll do like Zoom type stuff.
Can you give me an example? And once again, you'd obfuscate names or whatever of something that's happened inside of a weekly workshop that's kind of cool. Sorry to put you on blast right away and think of this stuff, but
So, I mean, first of all, we've had guests who I think are super interesting, like Andrew Wilkinson, co-founder of Tiny, which is another really big holding company.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll come and he'll talk about, let's say, holding companies. We'll have, here, let me pull up.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm just going to make names. We'll keep going. I'm going to say Tim Ferriss and Mark Cuban for fun, whatever. Okay, so inside, what are some like conversations that have had, like, are they talking with you sometimes? It's like an office hours where they ask you questions and you answer?
Sometimes it'll be with me. Sometimes it'll be with my team, but it'll be very tactical. So it'd be like how to get from 0 to 100,000 followers with, Sean Pori. I'm just making an example. But they're all like that. So we'll take an expert and it'll all be really around the tactics to get from point A to point B, like give the secret sauce. And then we also run something called sprints, which is, in the next 30 days, we're going to go collectively get to 100,000 followers. So everyone signs up to a sprint and we provide like a lot of the curriculum, the trainings, the guest speakers, the accountability to help get you there. And then everyone kind of shares what they're learning.
So that's that's pretty cool. What makes it even more real is you give like an actual example. So Mark got 20,000 followers with the super viral post. You got 15,000 followers. Collectively, we hit 115,000 new followers in 1 month, right? Like some sort of result is often kind of cool.
Yes.
Also, and this is really hard. I have a problem with this. I actually made a module inside a copywriting course where we just talk about recent office hour sessions, because people have asked me this in the past, like, what do you do in office hours? I'm like, shit, I forget. And every week we have dope questions. So here's all the ones we did from like the last office hours, and it goes on and on. This is all just from August, right? And it goes on and on and on and on. And so, it would be helpful to put a couple of those like really cool conversations, preferably that have resulted in an action. Because if you a lot of people will put testimonials and stuff like, Greg is awesome. Cool. Who gives a shit? It's like, Greg is awesome. He helped take my company from $0 to $10 billion in one day. Much better, right? There's like a result in there. So I think having some sort of like results from these convos and listing out maybe 3 of them, like Billy was doing X, but after talking to Greg, he did Y. Now they get 100,000 plus customers, right? Some sort of result coming from these conversations. The other thing could be Jason got hired by Greg. Now he's head of marketing, whatever. So these kinds of results are what are really cool to see. And once again, show, don't tell. Like you could just be like, here's what's going on. Here's some of the results. You don't have to like, be vague about it. Cool. But I do like the look of this page. I actually think it's like well done. I would like to see more about who's in there. If you're allowed to say some of the people.
Yeah,
I think that's really, really helpful. Like I know these are guest experts and stuff, but they're not in the thing. So saying who's in there would be really, really cool. Yeah, that's a good page. So it looks like you already got like a decent amount of members in there, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those no-brainer offers. Like I'm buying schools. School costs $99 a month. So this costs $149 a month. So for $49 a month, you're getting access to, these peer groups, workshops, all the content, pretty much everything. And I don't even think it's on the page, but there's also $1 million of software discounts that you get with the membership, which is pretty insane. So I don't know how long we're going to do this for in the sense of, I don't know how long I'll continue buying school memberships for people. And I don't know how long we can continue giving this much value at this price, but it is for now. Is
there like some sort of urgency that you could put on these? And urgency is always best when it's tied to something real. If you just say like sale ends in 3 days and it's just, August 27th or whatever, it's not as real as if it ends like at the end of the quarter or or on New Year's or on Christmas or on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, etc. So it might be interesting. And to what I do, actually, what I found works well is if we're going to do a promotion, tying it to Q3 and Q4 is always really good. Q3 is great because it's often like the doldrums for a lot of people in sales. The summer is kind of slow for a lot of companies, not all. And what happens is you have time to like redo all of your promotions that happen in Q4. And just remember, in Q4, you've got Halloween, you got Thanksgiving, you got Columbus Day, you got holidays, you got Cyber Monday, Black Friday, Christmas, New Year's. And these are all great times for people to buy. They're in the buying mood. But also, more importantly, like I tell, Q4 is always big for us because people want to say like, all right, 2025, I'm going to get my business into shape. I'm going to redo all our autoresponders. I'm going to redo our emails. I'm going to update our pages. I'm going to get Neville's help with it. And so Q4 is always big because we can tie urgency to something that's real, meaning like 2025 is about to start. You need to get your shit together if you didn't do it this year. So it could be interesting to have some sort of urgency where you get people in all at one time. That could be something like next enrollment, or it could be a sale, or it could be just like a Q4 promotion where there's no sale, but just saying like, hey, this is a great time to get in. So next year you can start off right.
I like that. I wonder what you think of this. I mean, the reality is, I don't know exactly how many members we have, like 330 or something, but the reality is, once we get to, let's say, 450, 500, we'll either cap it, or the price will just be significantly higher. We actually started off at $99 a month, but we just had to increase it. So we can like publicize basically those numbers and be like, these are, if you think this is a good idea, at 400 people, it's going to be $200 a month. At 450, it's going to be $250. At 500, it's going to be $350. What do you think about that?
I think it's okay. I think it's a little bit slightly dense concept. And the thing is, it's not backed up by anything. If you were to say, like, do you have like employees that work inside of this or anything?
Yes.
Okay. If you tie it to that, be like, to give the level of service to each customer at 100 people, I had to hire, it couldn't just be me. I had to hire someone. At 200 people, I had to hire another person. At 400 people, I had to hire another person, right? If it's tied to something real, I think that's good. I think the whole like 400 price increase, I think it's okay. I don't think it's like earth shattering. A lot of people would be like, yeah, okay, whatever. You're at 340. You're not even at 400 yet. But I do think like saying that you're going to cap it at a certain level so you can have a certain level of service, I think that's kind of cool.
Cool. Yeah, I like that.
Like, for example, if you're going to do like next enrollment starts for Q4 and then say like once we get to 500, we stop accepting, I think that's powerful. Like those two concepts are good. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I like it.
Let me ask you a question. You do a lot of communities like this, right? Is it just the only community that you're part of?
No, tons.
Okay. I mean, have you noticed that like it used to be like maybe 10 years ago or maybe even more, courses were popular because you couldn't get all this information online. Now you've got YouTube, you got X, you got all these places that just AI that just give all that information essentially for free, right? So I have noticed, and tell me if you noticed this too, course creators are all moving to communities now, right?
Yeah. Course creators are moving to communities, and communities are actually moving to memberships. And to me, there's a difference between community and a membership.
Interesting.
A membership, my membership to me is I'm paying for access to be, I identify as XYZ, and I'm paying for access to this XYZ membership. And what I get out of that could be a community, could be software, could be deals, could be content, could be XYZ. Whereas a community is just you're paying for access to other people. And I just think that a lot of people are burnt out of, paying for another paid community just so they can hang out with other people. That's my take.
Yeah, that's like lame. I feel like you could do that in a lot of places for free now. There's all sorts of free Discords, there's Reddit, there's all sorts of different Facebook groups and stuff like that. Also, one thing I've noticed is I've noticed that people have moved out of like the Facebook group model that was really popular a few years ago, and people got a little flamed out on it. And I think the reason is they were going based on engagement. So they'd be like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite software tool? And that works well for like a few like days or months. But then people get tired of like these like random engagement shit posting type things. And so I think that's the reason that a lot of memberships have had struggles. I think one of the key things that we did with our community is the way that the engagement happens is that we have courses, okay? And courses still are the fundamental part of it. Training courses, like you can watch me talk about how I make emails, whatever. And then after the end, you can either post your email on that post and I'll help punch it up as well as our writers, or you can just ask a question and I'll respond right there. And that's how we keep membership like engagement alive rather than like just asking bullshit questions every week. Because bullshit
100%.
Questions get old really fast. Yeah. And so a lot of communities are like, oh, here's a place where you can talk about copywriting. And you're like, okay, like, I just don't understand what's everyone's favorite software. It's like the same questions over and over and over. And then it's just like engagement just peters out eventually and people get tired of it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, 100%. That's why I'm such a believer in the membership model. It's just like you're overloading with value, and it's not just the community piece. Like people think that Community Empire, for example, like, oh, it's another place on school. Like how often am I actually going to go and get value from it? But guess what our retention rate is for Community Empire? It's insane. Guess how many people? It's 84%. 84% are active, which is crazy. Which we probably should put on the website.
Yeah. 84% active
are logging in all the time because there's so much value. Like what other, the only other place for that is like Instagram and TikTok where you're seeing 84% that active.
What are 3 other cool ass facts about
the membership? I mean, probably like collective, cash flow of, let's just say $100 million a year or $200 million a year, or probably more, probably $1 billion at this point. Like that's huge.
Just trying to figure out one way to like write it in one sentence. There we go. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of cool to see over here. I don't think you need it right here, but the point is like somewhere on the page, there could be some like little things like collective cash flow of $1 billion. You're like, oh, so there's like big time people in here.
Right.
So that's helpful to know. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. This is pretty cool. Overall, I think it's a pretty good page. You could have a little something extra to it. What is your thought? I'm just asking you, Greg, like what do you think of showing people what's going on inside of the community? Like giving a little preview or something like that. What's your thought process on that?
I think we should do it. I don't know why we wouldn't do it. Cause like there's, I'm just opening it up right now. There's so much interesting stuff. Like it sells itself. It's kind of like what we talked about before with Design Scientist. The posts sell itself. So why wouldn't we share it?
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like most communities like don't share that stuff. I think e-commerce fuel is one, the only one I've seen that actually shares like some like what's behind the scenes. Cause I've been in these membership groups before that I've bought. And I remember like they don't show me what the hell's inside. I'm just like, what are you even like running this on? I think most people don't care is what I found like just through surveys. Like they don't, so long as they get what's promised on the page, like they don't care the delivery method. Whereas I actually care like what platform is it on and stuff. I don't want it to be on like some hard to use platform. I did a little thing where I put on my sales page a community feed, like a live community feed. And I'm not sure if it helps or not, but I think it's helpful. And we used to have a lot more, but it's just on mobile, it was just massive. So it actually shows like a live feed. And if someone actually posts right now, it'll like show up on here. So it's just embedded in the page.
How do you feel about confidentiality in that case?
Well, the thing is, I think it goes away quick. So if you check in like an hour, this will all be different. It's just gone. So it doesn't really index on Google or anything. And then the other thing is it's just the headlines. It's not showing what they're talking about. And so I haven't ever got any complaints or like concerns about it because it's on there for a brief amount of time, then it goes away. So we're not showing everyone everything. It's just a little bit. And even oh man, I can't show you my full screen, but I'm going to pull this up real quick. On the sidebar, whenever someone's a guest, they see this. They see like a live feed, a live updated feed. And when they click that, it shows them an error. It's like, oh, you got to be a member. And I can't prove it with numbers, but I think it gives people FOMO and they want to join. Because they want to see like someone's, here's my autoresponder, what do you think? And then there's like 14 replies to it. And they're like, like I would love to like learn from that, right?
I actually just noticed one of the people on that feed is a Community Empire member. So that's
really?
also interesting, which is you might see a friend in there and you're like, oh, I didn't realize that, Amit is in there. I'm definitely going to join. Yeah. So
you know who does? We have a directory, but we don't publish it. I just don't want to put everyone's name on there because I think part of it is confidentiality. But I think Small Bets does a cool job at this, where they put all the members. And by the way, this is a lifetime membership that they're selling, so it's a little bit different. So they have a large number of members, but they have a directory, and you can see everyone who's joined and when. And I personally find this very compelling. I don't think I would ever put this on my own community, but I do find it compelling that you can see who joined and like check out their ex. So I could just like, who's George? And like look at his ex and be like, oh, he does this. And I've like kind of snooped on this before. And I thought that was kind of a cool thing. Like I said, I don't think I would do it. Would you put something like this up for free for everyone to see?
I wouldn't do it publicly. We have a private directory and people use it a lot because all of a sudden, like if you see Neville in there, it's an excuse for, it's like, oh, Neville's a Community Empire member. I'm going to go message him. And so I feel like there's that trust. If you made it public, you lose a little bit of that trust. So I wouldn't do it publicly, but I get it for small bets. Bets because it's so big.
Yeah. It just depends on the nature of your thing, because that's like a cheaper product, lifetime access. And the goal is to have like access to a lot of people, which by the way, when you think about the lifetime access thing, what's your thoughts on it? I know my thoughts.
I mean, we wouldn't start a community. Like for example, Community Empire, we have like one of the top community managers in the business running it. And people love him. His name is Patrick. And if Small Bets is doing a community, like do they have a community feed? I think they do, right?
I don't know if they do. I have not seen a feed. I think they have a chat and it goes into Campfire, which I believe is part of Discord or something.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's room for this, which is lifetime, but no community. I think the mistake people make is they open up a feed and then all of a sudden someone might poison the well, or there's too much promotion, or you know, there's so many ways that a community could go wrong. But I think Small Bets is a huge, I mean, I'm not on the product, but I think from what I hear, people love it. And it's so cheap, right? So
I think it's like $180 or something.
Yeah. So it's just like, it's a different offer. So how do I feel about lifetime? I think that there's opportunity to do it. Just don't open up a community.
Yeah. I used to do lifetime, like when I sold courses, and the problem is like things happen. So let's say I'm talking about emails, and like now ConvertKit is out compared to when I first made the videos, and there's a whole different software I use. And now, with AI, things are very different. I'd have to re-record videos and trainings and update things all the time for someone who paid me $300 7 years ago. And that's just not like the greatest business model in the world to me. And then also inside of our community, we actually rewrite people's copy. And so if I had a person who paid $300 7 years ago, I have like professional writers in there that I have to pay. I have a staff. I have like development costs to maintain a community like this. And so it's just not possible to give people really, really good service. And if we had all 15,000 people or something that have been through in the previous years, that would be in a tremendous amount of like people requiring copy. Like, how do I update this entire autoresponder? There'd be no way we could service that. So we have to charge a membership, and some people don't like that, but I think people are pretty used to it now. But I think membership, like a recurring membership, is the way to go. And some people will use it for only a few months. Some people will use it forever. And I think that's the way we've moved a long time ago. And I've seen a lot more course creators do that. By the way, you want to know here's my thoughts on how course creators go. You start with one course, right? You build an audience. So let's say like you in the early days, you build an X audience and you have 20,000 followers and everyone's craving for something for you to sell. You make a course, it does really well. So you go, hey, that was kind of cool. So then you make another course, and then you make another course. Now you got 3 courses, and now people are confused as to what you do. It's like you got Community Empire, community this and community that. And they're like, which one do I buy? So then eventually you say, I'm going to bundle them together for one big price. So that's the next step. And then what happens is people say like, well, can I just get that one? Or this is too expensive. So then you say, I'm going to bundle it together for $97 a month. And that's where everyone ends up landing on like the membership model. Like, here's all my crap. You get access to it for like a monthly price or one big price per year. So I have seen that's where everything goes. And I have seen every course like add some sort of membership with varying levels of success. It's very difficult to keep a membership going and keeping people engaged for a long period of time. So anyways, kind of a random rant.
Neville, this is why I called you. This is exactly why I called you. This is exactly what I needed. And I'm happy we went through these two examples, because on the design scientist side, it's really for anyone who wants to build an agency. So you basically live cooked how to create copy for an agency. And then for the community empire example, you live cooked how do you write copy that sells for an info product, a digital product, a membership business. So thank you.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on. It's an honor. Appreciate it.
Where could people get to know you better?
You go to copywritingcourse.com. I'm logged in right now, but it'll show you a little newsletter sign up. That's probably the number one best place. I'm also on X at /NevMed. First three letters of my first name and last name, NevMed. So I'm over there. I also got a YouTube channel called YouTube/copywriting, the old spelling with K's. So that's kind of fun. And I interview a lot of people over there. I've done a lot of previous trainings, but recently I've been doing more long form interviews. And then also on Instagram, this goes surprisingly well. We do all these like short form reels and stuff like that. So every day I post one reel, and that's a pretty fun way for people to follow as well. So copywritingcourse.com or Neville Medora on all the socials.
Dude, I didn't know you're so busy. Like that's a lot of you're creating content.
I guess so. I mean, I guess I got a system down to where it doesn't seem like that crazy. But yeah, when you look at it and you're just like, we're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I have an agency that splits all the stuff up into shorts and then posts it. But yes, pulling stuff, getting the long form stuff is the hardest part. So totally. I record a lot of long form with the intention of cutting it up into short form. Also, just doing like this, it's kind of like I selfishly want to ask people cool questions. And get their ideas on it. And since there's a camera in their face, I feel like they answer better. and then they get some promotion. I get what I want out of it. The audience hopefully gets to come and play along too. So it's pretty fun.
100%. All right, my man. I'll catch you later.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
See ya.
Have a good one, everyone. Bye.
Later.